Hi, week 4, session 1. Novelist, oh novelist, where art thou? Where art thou in thy process of writing thy first novel? If you are game to finish your first novel by December 1st, 2014, as your pacer, here's what your manuscript is hopefully looking like at this juncture. 32 chapters with something in them. Anywhere from 2 sentences to 4 pages, maybe 2 pages, but something, some content has been chunked and plunked into all of your 32 chapters, and you've been on the floor playing with them, somewhere that you're not in front of your computer, getting into that playful trance state, and you're moving those puzzle pieces around, and you're making order out of your manuscript, out of your plot. Even though you might not have executed, even though you might only have anywhere from 2 sentences to 4 pages, and that I want to let's look at an average of 2 pages, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Really, here is actually you can see my footer here, which is May, all right, of this year. And so here's the first page, and you can see, oops, chapter 1. And so it's kind of like this is what my manuscript chapters generally looked like at this stage of writing my first novel, where you are now. So it's kind of like a page and a half. Stay tuned. So you have all your 32 chapters, something in them. I'm going to say 2 sentences to 2 pages, but let's just go with 2 pages. And even though you might not have executed on every chapter, and again, we're not that far down the funnel, in broad strokes who the characters are, who reveals what to whom, when, what complicates the action, the story, how it resolves. That's what you know broadly. Okay, so and the reason you know that is because you've worked with all 32 chapters. You haven't just polished chapter 1 to a high shine with perfectly lovingly crafted sentences, and then chapter 2 to 32 is a big old blank. That I don't think is a lot of fun. So now you have the entire scope of your novel. So that's really where you want to be right now. Okay, roughly 2 pages, and some of your content in those 2 pages in each of your 32 chapters will be clear, solid exposition mixed with notes to yourself, red herrings you want to plant, foreshadowing you want to create. Some of it will be dialogue snippets. A lot will be scene descriptions with blank spaces that you left for yourself to fill in research. For example, the May 17th version of my chapter 1. Is that one? Yeah, okay. Does he know? The woman stared out the large window overlooking the shores of the Outer Banks onto this, that, and the other thing. And I literally write that onto this, that, and the other thing. Describe the environment. Google Outer Banks scenery. The only thing that wouldn't allow her to be mistaken for a statue was the wisp of deep brown hair that wafted to the right of her head from the breeze of the Atlantic Ocean, then toward the front of her face, from which she swept the hair behind her ear to rejoin its flock. With this she turned. You know, obviously, that's not great writing. And that's exactly where it needs to be at this stage. You're just entering week 4. You're just getting into the first third of this process. So what's important here is that I know who this woman is. I know where she is. I know what she's doing. Okay, I haven't described that beautifully perfectly. That's way down further in the funnel. If you look at the syllabus in the um, in the description of the YouTube video, you will see that when we get to language, it's not like week until week 7. All right, so you're not crafting perfect language at this point, but you know, does he know? I know who's talking to her. I know who that person is. I know so that's what's important here. And you notice I didn't spend a lot of time so that I could keep moving through the entire arc of the book. I didn't spend a lot of time on describing the Outer Banks scenery. Okay, I made a note to myself. I had to go research it and then come back. How do you know? She asked, startled to see a smile oxymoronic to the circumstances. Oh God, that's, whatever that, I mean, that's, again, it's just what it is. It's just how it came out. But I'm not going to say oxymoronic to the circumstances because, nobody will read my book after the third sentence. But I know what oxymoron means. And I know, that's just how it came out. When I get to the language section of the funnel down here in the neck of the funnel, that's when I'm going to clean that up and and make that readable. My wife, though I don't imagine you'd be one to carry on as much as she, such matters have a way of heralding themselves to anyone paying a modicum of attention. So anyway, I moved down, then more dialogue. Good for you. No, she said, moving toward a blank chair, and I just wrote high back because I need to do some research on traditional, finely crafted furniture because I don't have that in my house, as you can probably see from the back of the scene here. I live in an art studio, basically. So I just made a line and I knew I had to research that. And I actually have a research file created for that. So she said, moving toward a blank chair, high back, and easing herself into it as though she were near term. Good for you, my dear. The dark haired woman cast her glance toward her hands, her head almost bowed as if being absolved in confession. The man smiled again and moved behind a blank desk. Again, what I'm trying to show you here is that what the content in your chapters at this point is not perfectly crafted because this is what chunking and plunking looks like at this point. And that's where I'm going to leave it because I'm going to continue to use chapter 1 from my novel at various stages of this process to show you, to concretely demonstrate and pace you for your novel. This is around what your novel is looking like if you're on board to be finished by December 1st. Now, you may not be on board with that. Only you know that. But if you are on board to have a novel completed by December 1st, this is where you want to be. 32 chapters, chunked and plunked with content relevant to those chapters so that you know the entire arc of the story in broad strokes. You know who these people are. You know who's going to do what to whom when. And you still have some blank spaces in there because you haven't filled it in with your research. You still have some notes to yourself. In fact, in another version of this chapter, I actually have a note to myself, and I start out with chapter 1, and I say, I really want as a red herring for readers to think that Edgar is blah, blah, blah. I don't want to say it because I'll spoil it, that Edgar, blah, blah, blah. So I need to suggest that up front in this conversation. Right now, it's too obvious that Edgar is not da 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 da. And so, and then I go right into exposition. Dialogue? Does he know? The woman stared out the large window overlooking, the vast Atlantic Ocean. So you're going to have this hodgepodgey mix of blanks, of research yet to fill in. Maybe you've already filled in some of your research. We're going to talk about that. And that's exactly where it needs to be right now. But the key here is all 32 chapters, at least 2 pages of chunked and plunked, 2 to 4 pages of chunked and plunked filled in. And next week, let me get my funnel. Next week, we're going to do, if you look at the syllabus, we're going to do the drill down. All right. So where we are right now is, we're really right here. We're moving toward the neck of the funnel. And we're going to be spending, beginning next week, week 5, we're going to be just at the neck of the funnel. And we're going to be spending the remaining 7 weeks there. All right. So if you've been wondering when am I going to really start writing and dealing with sentences and language and pacing and tension and themes and metaphor and all that, well, you're about to get your wish. And it's going to be in here. It's going to be a lot of fun because you've done all this in here. So then this is you can play and still do one sentence at a time and still be in trance and play, but you're not going to write yourself into a corner because you know you've done this work in here. So your prompt for this session is to go to the next video, week 4, session 2. But in the meantime, haha, I have something for you. Check this out. I hope you're still having fun. I hope you're still doing things that you enjoy, that you enjoyed when you were a little kid, and chances are you still enjoy them now. I hope you're going back and you're having fun. Check it out. Hula hoop. I love this. Yeah, okay, I got something for you.